What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Culture 316 podcast. I'm one of your hosts and producers, Jordan Ahisi, joined with my guy, Banks. What's going on, Brody?
Hey man, it's hot as hell, but I still got a hoodie on because I stay ice cold.
What's cooler than being cool? And that shit
Ice
brought me
cold,
back to the Outcast lyric.
right?
Ice cold. But thank y'all so much for joining us. Obviously, we got a lot to talk about. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify podcasts, be sure to subscribe to the show, give the show 5 stars. It's how the show gets up there and charts and all this other stuff. We've been trying to get to top 100 wrestling podcasts. We've been charting a little bit. We hit like 122 a couple weeks ago. We're trying to get into top 100. So let's make Culture 316 a top 100 wrestling podcast at least in the US. But yeah, be sure to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. But we're not going to waste any more time. Obviously, we're here. It's Monday morning. Obviously, the talk of the wrestling world is AEW All in 2024, live from Wembley Stadium in London, England. There were so many things that happened: surprise debuts, cool entrances, surprise returns. I wanted to get your take on everything, Banks. And you could take your time. We got all the time in the world. So let me just know how you think about AEW's All in London.
Pretty good show. The booking was kind of expected. Mariah May going over Tony Storm, that's fine. Jamie Hayter coming back, that's good. The trios title match, that was good. Not a lot of spots that I thought would be taken. I thought people would be trying to crack their cranium as usual in AEW because that's what most day workers aspire to do, but that didn't happen. The FTW title going back to Hook, that was cool, I guess. What am I missing? The tag match, pretty good match. I'm about to call her Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné. Now I feel like I'm going all over the place, not in order, but y'all know the title card. Because I'm getting to the MJF and the Ospreay match I want to talk about. But Sasha Banks, damn. Mercedes Moné. Vince called you Sasha Banks. I'm gonna call you Sasha Banks. But Mercedes Moné going against Britt Baker, a better match than I expected. Britt Baker just kind of just did the job. Like I feel like she was out there working like she hasn't been in the business 5 years. She's kind of working like a jobber. She took most of the bumps. I'm like, all right, I guess that interest told me everything I need to know. They just kissing up to Shorty, but that's a whole different conversation for another day. I'm gonna be professional. Then we get to MJF versus Will Ospreay, and this is when I said, "All right, I feel like the old guy that watches pro wrestling. Dude, how many high spots are y'all gonna do? How many cutters are y'all gonna do? How many off the rope moves are we gonna do?" I'm like, remember back in my day, we told a story. It was none of that. It was just a bunch of moves. Of course, it was gonna be a homage to somebody that used to work there because we know how they get down. And then I did Cody Rhodes move, which I forgot. What is it called? The Cody Rhodes move, the finisher.
The Cody cut or the Crossroads or
Yeah,
the
the Crossroads. They
MJF
did
did
the
a
Cody Cutter
Crossroads.
too, though. Yeah, they did the Cody Cutters well. Will
Yeah.
Ospreay did it off the turnbuckle. I'm just like, y'all just can't let shit go. We 3 minutes in, so now I could cuss, even though I try not to cuss on the show. That match it wasn't for me. I'm of the old school mindset. Can you tell me a story without doing all these little jumping moves? Can we have some type of technique? But for everybody else, I guess it'll work, or anybody that's interested in that. Then we get into Swerve versus Daniel Bryan. That was a pretty good match. I'll just say that. With Daniel Bryan having the babyface comeback, Hangman Page disrupted that match as we knew because that Isaiah Swerve and that Hangman Page rivalry is gonna last a long time. Daniel Bryan going over, we knew his career wasn't gonna end. That dude. Hey, Sting came back for a second. All right, let's tell y'all everything. Nobody stays retired in the pro wrestling business. Dory Funk Jr., the great Dory Funk Jr. at 83 just had an explosion match in Japan the same day. Nobody in pro wrestling retires until they die or they really, really, really can't do it anymore. Abdullah Butcher. It took him to be 70 years old for him to call it. And he could barely walk around. So nobody quits. Overall, for my review, personal review, no disrespect, but it's another AEW pay per view. You've seen them once, you see them all. This is coming from somebody that wants to love AEW. I like it. Like it and love is two different things, all right? There's a lot of women I like, but there's no women I love, to be clear. So it was alright pay per view.
I actually really enjoyed the show. I feel like when it comes to AEW shows, I need to be able to one be in a place where I have the energy to watch it. Considering that this was on at 1 in the afternoon in New York, it was like, okay, I'm up. It's in the middle of my day. This can go for 4 or 5 hours, and I'm not yawning and I'm not super fatigued. So, like, I think just the fact that I had enough bandwidth to watch, analyze, and process the show was just like that was great on me. So I think that that was number one. I think number two, I actually really enjoyed the show. There were a couple things that I actually really love. I think that one of the bright spots in AEW is the story between Mariah May and Tony Storm. I loved kind of like towards the end of the match how like Tony wanted to like hit her with the high heel and couldn't, and based off of just like that pause, Mariah kind of was able to capitalize towards the end of the match and win. I thought that that was a form of good storytelling in the match. Now, can I say that that was present in everything today? Probably not. But at the same time, I felt like there were just a lot of bright spots. The trios match I wasn't able to catch. I got to Legends a little bit late, but I was able to catch the three-way tag match with the Bucks, the Acclaim, and FTR. It was a really, I don't want to say that it was weird, but it was engaging. It was fun, but I just felt like I don't know if it's just me, but like the Buck, like if you're gonna put another team in the middle of this FTR Bucks thing, then they need to win. I That's just my personal opinion. Like the Bucks and FTR have been positioned as the 1A and the 1B of the AEW tag team division. They are the Jason Brown and the Jason Tatum. So it's like it's very, very clear that those guys are their top dogs when it comes to tag teams. If you're gonna add another tag team into the mix, then they need to win. Because I feel like with tag teams in AEW, it's just the Young Bucks, FTR, and everybody else. So I felt like if you're gonna put the Acclaim in the midst of that match, then the Acclaim needs to win. That was my opinion on that. As far as the funny part is that nobody really talked about was the AEW TNT title match, right? I felt like we're finally seeing kind of the evolution of Jack Perry with this scapegoat character. In my opinion, I felt like there was just a lot of stuff that happened in that match for shock value. The whole like taking out the bag and pouring glass out and then posing in front of the crowd. It was just, I guess, his way of, kind of like taunting CM Punk. But like CM Punk said, way to be the most over guy in two companies. It's just, I don't know. I feel like when we keep referencing this incident that happened at All In last year, it doesn't really help Jack. Like you can't rebrand somebody that got choked out. You can't start a fight, lose the fight, and then think you can capitalize off of the fight that you lost to make it seem like like you won or you got one up. Like dog, you got cooked. It's that simple. And I just feel like you trying to rebrand someone that lost the fight is crazy. But that's another thing for another day. That TNT title match was, it was cool. It was expected. Darby did a lot of reckless stuff as we expected. I didn't expect Jack Perry to win. Nevertheless, glad that he won. I guess this just kind of reinforces his dominance, his rule, his reign. I guess as the TNT Championship. Sting coming back. Oh, nice. Um, Sting coming back, I was thoroughly surprised to see Sting coming back. So I thought that was a really nice treat. Going into the Mercedes Brit match, like you said, when Britt walked out, it kind of her face kind of told the story. There was somebody in the bar that was just like, "Oh, she got that face on. She knows she's losing." And so I think that that was the thing. Once I kind of saw her entrance, I knew that she wasn't going to win. But it was a good match. I enjoyed it. I don't really have any major complaints about it. Um, the gauntlet was cool. Seeing Nigel McGuinness return was great. Seeing him in that ring going off with Zack Sabre Jr., I thought that was a pretty cool moment. And Okada, I thought that was really, really cool. Um, Still in great shape, still in fantastic shape. And then obviously we get the AEW debut of Ricochet. We heard rumors about him signing that multi-year deal. He made his appearance. He looked to have an extra pep in his step. What is to come, we don't know. I guess we'll find out. But moving on to the world title match. I honestly thought that this was going to be it for Daniel Bryan, especially Bryan Danielson, especially because he came out to Final Countdown. I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. But it turned out that it wasn't. I felt like there were a lot of things in there. I felt like there could have been a way to wrap up the match after Hangman came out to interrupt, or at least it could have been a little bit of a quicker wrap up, because I felt like because the match kept going after that distraction, I feel like there was less power associated with his distraction. Like if Hangman came in the end and did something really, really abrupt that just led to Danielson either getting a pinfall or putting him in a compromising position where he tapped out to submission, I feel like that would have been more powerful than what we saw. But it was a little overbooked. But nevertheless, Bryan Danielson is the new AEW World Champion, which I was actually going to ask you about, considering that he's been considered a locker room leader. He's a part of the disciplinary committee. So how do you feel about Bryan Danielson being the AEW World Champ?
I think it's great. Eventually, he was gonna get it. Now's the time because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, about a year left. I think he got like a year left on his contract, and he's been saying for about two or so he wanted to call it around this time anyway. So let him get a title run. I'll put Swerve over, despite not wanting to. He had a good run. Uh, Pretty good worker. You know, that's all you can ask for. He's made a lot of money. That's the number one thing people got to still realize.
Mm-hmm.
It's the pro business. You got to make money. I don't care what you do. Hey, I don't care if you're a basketball player. Yeah, I need $300 million for just dribbling. All right. So he's made a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
He got over. That's all you can ask for. But Daniel Bryan winning the title, it was due. Even if he decided to drop it this upcoming Wednesday, that's fine. To say I've been world heavyweight champion, I've been
Right.
WWE champion, and I've been AEW champion. I don't remember his accolades in ROH, even though that's when I started watching him. Dude is one of the greatest workers of all time. I mean, that's been solidified
All time.
since 2014. I think we can say that when he won at WrestleMania. I think every now and then people forgot this little guy going against the likes of Randy Orton and Batista, who were the guys in WWE. And that match originally was supposed to be a 1-on-1, but yet they had to put him in there because he was over like Rover. And he also told Vince at one point, "Hey, I want to be just as popular, if not more popular than John Cena." And Vince was like, "My nigga, you're tripping." But what happened? He became more popular than John Cena around that time. People, I'm not
Yeah.
joking. And this is coming from a John Cena mark. All right. That man was moving more units than M Pimp Juice and us. He was moving more units than John Cena and merch around that time. That Yes movement to this day. The Yes movement been going on, 14 years, 13 years now, somewhere around 12 years to this day.
Yeah.
That chant. The chant started like years ago, but then the Yes movement started in 2013, 2014. So cut to 11 years later, overseas, they doing this. All right. So that tell y'all everything you need to know. The only chance that go off really in arenas is what and yes. Okay. So for him to get the title, well deserved. one of the top 10 greatest workers of all time, top 15, somewhere around that. Definitely probably top 10. Uh, the resume speaks for itself since ROH to now. He was an underground legend to becoming a mainstream legend. Can't say anything. I'm just glad he got the title. Where it goes from here, it don't matter. If he just decide I want to just keep defending the title till I call it quits next year or so, people gonna
Mm,
watch.
yeah. I agree. To kind of also piggyback off of what you're saying, not only did he win all these world championships literally 10 years apart, I believe 10 years, yeah, 10 years apart, he wins two world titles at two of the biggest events. He wins at WrestleMania against Orton and Batista for the WWE undisputed title and the world heavyweight title in the main event of WrestleMania. He wins the AEW world title in the main event of All In. Wins the biggest titles in some of the biggest moments in the company's history. So hats off to him. Hats off to Bryan Danielson for being a world champion. I think that kind of concludes my my impressions of All In, but I want to know what everybody else thinks. How do you guys feel about All In? We're going to be talking a little bit, in the coming weeks more about AEW. We're going to be moving on because during the 0 hour of All In, it was announced that Jesus, why am I blanking on his name? Swerve Strickland has renegotiated and has re-signed his AEW contract. At the time where he signed the contract, he was the AEW World Champion. I want to know, how do you feel about them re-signing Swerve Strickland?
It's workers that work less than him and make, I don't want to put all their business out there, but allegedly they making about 300K. Former WWE women's worker. I sound like a chatty patty, but y'all put two and two together. All right. And it ain't Sasha Banks. She making way more than that. But for him, because he's put in the work since he's been there about what, 2 years now or so, since he got cut from
Mm-hmm.
WWE, he's put in the work.
Yeah.
He's got better. He got his ball body now. He worked on his body. He gained muscle. You know what I mean? He's still fat. He ain't got no cut, but he gained his body. Uh,
Hmm.
so for him, being the first black champ, being a world champ, WWE, I mean, I'm sorry, AEW world champ, hey, I need at least 500K. Why not ask
Right.
for that much? Because you know why? Tony Khan will give you that money. Again, he paying people just to sit in the back or just sit at home. Fuck the back. They just sit at home. Excuse my
Right.
language. They just sit at home. I saw Brian Cage for the first time in years, and he got a Wolverine hairstyle. Gas to the gills on steroids, allegedly. Ain't no allegedly. I seen that dude when he was younger. All right. It
Hmm.
ain't enough steak in the world and eggs, brother, to get that swole. Trust me. So for him, if you got examples of people like that, hey, Rusev's still over there. Ain't Rusev still over there getting paid?
Miro is Miro. I
Yeah,
think he is. I think he is. Hold on, Miro AEW.
just sitting over
I'm
there
gonna
just
check.
playing video games, and he making a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So Swerve been working. He on TV every week. Yeah, hey, I need at least 500K. If you can get more out of the con, man, which you probably could, hey, see, if it's me, I don't like taking advantage of people, but at the same time, if I know you gonna do it, you might as well go ahead and give it to me. Balls. So I'm about to
Right.
be like, hey, let me get a meal.
Hey,
Yeah, hey, yo, that's crazy. I'm about to be like, let
that
me
was.
just get. That's wild. You get clip that if you want, and just
Ah.
put hey yo on it. But
Woo. But keep
I,
going.
if I'm him, I'm just gonna try. I'm gonna tell my agent, hey, let's see if we get a meal. You might get a meal from Tony Khan because he's just like that. Hey, let me get a meal. People like, yeah, you know how he's talk. I don't think that's a good. He kind of sound like Narwhal. I don't think that's a good idea. Hey, let me get 800,000. Cool. He'd be like, bet 800,000. Cool. All right, I'll take a $200, 200 grand haircut bet. But again, that's good for him. He wasn't gonna go. He can't go nowhere else. I mean, unless he was gonna go to Impact, he can't go to WWE. That bridge is burnt. But
He can't go to Rocket. Well, I guess a private conversation. I guess.
no,
I
no,
think
no.
he
It
can
ain't no
maybe go to.
private. I think he just burnt the bridge over there. They just. I don't know what it is
Hmm.
between him and AJ Francis with the E, but it just seemed like they not liked over there Because why you get cut twice being AJ Francis? You got cut twice. Some going on we don't know about. And you got cut the first time
That's a
because you
point.
did
That's a really good point.
that hilarious song with Jinder Mahal when he was rapping with the Jay-Z. A minute beat. Remember that?
Yeah,
I was in
I
Brooklyn
remember
when
that
that
joint.
came out.
Nah, that's crazy. I personally, I didn't know that a bridge was burned. Whatever. I think that this is the
Allegedly.
right move. Allegedly, I think this is the right move for AEW to sign Swerve Strickland. I mean, prior to All In, he was making the rounds of a lot of primarily black or black adjacent media outlets. Um, he was on Boardroom talking about just kind of his role, and I feel like him being this like enigma and this crossover star and this kind of black culture savant that can be in AEW and can kind of bridge the gap. Like we saw Bun B come out today. Obviously, DJ Who Kid has a relationship with Swerve. We know Jim Jones came out when AEW was in Long Island, and a lot of it is due to the relationship that Swerve has between the pro wrestling world and the hip hop world. I feel like if they want to continue that relationship and that synergy, having somebody like a Swerve Strickland is extremely imperative. In addition to that, the man is just fantastic in the ring. The man can work, the man can wrestle. The man's character development has gone to new heights as the AEW World Champion. And I'm going to make the argument that now that he is back in this rivalry with Hangman Adam Page, oh man, I feel like we're just getting started. I feel like the work that they're going to do is going to exceed both of their world title reigns. I feel like this is going to be a very, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's going to be one of those feuds that's going to take both of them to, and it's going to be the Edge Matt Hardy of AEW in the sense that it's going to position them for more and make them both more valuable because it was able to solidify Matt as a guy who can play the mid card role and be in tag teams with people other than Jeff. It was the thing that made Edge the main eventer for him to eventually get a WWE title. So I feel like this can be that for them. Um, but man, I'm excited for Swerve. I think that this is long overdue. I'm glad that he got his money, and I'm glad that he's going to be into a program that's going to have a lot of fans interested. So we'll see what happens. But I want to know how everybody feels about Swerve Strickland re-signing with AEW. But we're moving on because we're going from Swerve to JBL. Now, JBL, according to Body Slam, has expressed interest in purchasing Mexican promotion AAA. Um, he has an interest in investing in AAA. I want to know how you feel about JBL investing in this potentially.
Dog, some things you can't even write. Some things you can't even write. The fact that this dude did a 19 years ago for people younger than me and Jordan. All right. JBL had a program with one of the top five, and I stand on that. One of the top five greatest workers of all time being Eddie Guerrero. Argue with your mama, your grandmother, your daddy. The stats are right there. I don't care. He's one of the greatest,
Mm-hmm.
top five greatest workers of all time. He had a program. All right. What was he doing in this program? Chasing illegal immigrants out of the borders and kicking them across the border
Literally.
back to Mexico. Literally kicking them. All right. He damn near made Eddie Guerrero's mom have a heart attack. Well, she did have a heart attack on camera, but it was a work. Had one of the greatest matches ever at Judgment Day 2005. What type of match was it? Was it a bull rope match? I think it was a bull rope
I
match.
think it was. No. The Bull Rope match was Great American Bash.
What
I
was the one at
remember
Judgment Day?
it was great. Hold on. Let me.
Because
Judgment
remember, Eddie
Day.
got colored and he had to go to the hospital because he was bleeding so bad an artery pop.
Yeah, I think. I'm trying to find out what dog. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at just like the I'm looking at just like the still from this match, bro. Oh, it was a regular match. He just like defeated him by DQ.
Yeah, he got hit with the
Like
chair
JBL, yeah,
to get color, but
bro.
he bladed himself, but he went
The
too deep. Balls.
the way that blood was all over that ring is crazy. But as you were,
No, no, no. It is. I want y'all because I'm getting to a point now where, as I'm getting older, I want y'all to understand why, if you care to know why I love pro wrestling or anything in general, it's because of matches like that. Because we were watching
hmm
that at 15, 16 years old, and you like, damn. And this is coming from a dude. I was watching, E- E- I was watching ECW on cable, legal cable, the red, the red, the black box with the red numbers.
yeah,
Yeah, my mom
yeah, yeah,
had legal cable, so I had to watch ECW that way before they went to TNN. So I seen blood and stuff like that. I seen their pay per views, Heat Wave, all those. All right, I was trying to go to one when they was at the LA Sports Arena in '99. That was the last one they did in LA. So I was watching XPW, all that. I was watching all that Japanese wrestling. I was getting the tape somehow. But for that to happen with Eddie Grill getting busted open was insane because you like,
yeah.
oh, I've seen people bleed before, but not like this where it just
Not like that.
all over the place. Remember, it was all over the ring. It looked like a crime scene,
Bro.
people.
That that ring, it was all red. There was red everywhere.
Because remember,
Like
John
it
Cena
was.
got colored too
Yeah,
earlier
he
that
did.
year, but it wasn't like Eddie
Oh,
Guerrero.
that earlier that pay per view. Earlier, yeah,
Yeah, so it wasn't like Eddie, who again he almost died because he hit an artery.
yeah.
So
That's
for
nuts.
this, for this guy to make you believe that he beating up on Rey Mysterio after Eddie passed, like I really thought he hated Latins. Like he played the part so well. We thought he hated Latins. So for
Mm.
him to now want to purge AAA wrestling, which me and you could, no disrespect, great promotion, legendary promotion, but me and you could buy it because they selling that bit wholesale. They like whoever got the bread, just come get it. It's like they treating AAA like a couch. Hey man, we got some bread. Come get it. You got
Mm.
$20. You come get this couch right now. I got you. Just bring a truck. That's how they treat AAA. So if he buys it, they're getting more motion in mainstream America just because of the AEW thing. But with his market
Yeah,
in mind, his ability to cut promotion because he's a business. Me and you know, but I'm telling people outside of this, he's an actual like stock trader. That's why he
yes,
was almost
like a
about to
real
stop
life
pro
businessman.
wrestling. Yeah, he almost stopped pro wrestling when him and the great Mr. Ron Simmons broke up. He was really like day trading, or he was just trading on the stock market. But then he got over so much that he had to stay in the E. So for
Mm.
him, if he decides to buy it, the marketing goes up. Because AAA, we used to watch that
Yeah.
back at home on Telemundo. Telemundo used to show it too. I used to watch AAA. I ain't know what they were saying, but I was tapped in.
Mm. Nah, that's a fact though. And I mean, it's interesting because he actually had a little quote regarding investing. He said, WCW, ECW, they've all gone under, but this company, AAA, just needs a little money and I'll invest it. So I feel like this is someone who just understands that he's in a prime position to acquire something that has the potential to be of very high value at a pretty substantially low price compared to what it could be sold for. And he's going to take full advantage of that. Like you said, his marketing mind, his business mind, I think is going to allow him to do things with that it's never been done before. Like didn't he? I believe he just made an appearance with Nick Nemeth in the promotion. JBL is someone who has relationships with other wrestlers, and I feel like he can be a bridge for guys who are out of the WWE system or within the free agent system that want to do kind of something different from an AEW or an Impact, they can go to AAA because they have that bridge there with JBL. I also believe that it's going to be interesting when it comes to TV deals now, right? This is someone who is very business aware. This is someone who was on Fox for stocks, like you said. So this is someone who's been in the TV world outside of pro wrestling. This is someone who's going to know his stuff, and I feel like he's going to know what to do when it comes to the negotiation table. But like you said, if you told me this was going to happen 20 years ago when this man was talking about illegal immigrants and coming after Eddie for all that, I would have actually laughed in your face. But seeing that he is investing in it, I think that it's great. I think it's a good look for pro wrestling, and I'm very eager to see what he does with it. But I want to know how everybody else feels. How do you feel about JBL investing in AAA? Let us know in the comments below. But we are moving on because even though we have just wrapped up with AEW All In, Bash in Berlin is the next big wrestling pay-per-view slash premium live event hosted by WWE, coming live from Berlin, Germany at the Mercedes Bank. I think it was Mercedes Bank Arena, if I'm not mistaken. Is it the Mercedes Bank? It's the Mercedes Bank Arena or the Uber Arena. Either one. They're
It's
coming
over.
live from either one of those. It, Uber Arena.
Yeah.
It's a pretty short match card right now, but it has some pretty interesting stories attached. So let's go over some predictions. So in a strap match, we have CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. Who do you have?
What type of match?
Strap match.
Hey, yo, I got a bad joke, but I'll leave it alone. Um, CM Punk, obviously, just because we know when it gets to bad blood, they got to have that tiebreaker. So I'm going with Punk.
Yeah.
Punk.
I agree with you. I'm going with Punk as well. The next thing is Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest versus Liv Morgan and Dirty Dominic Mysterio.
If you see Liv Morgan long term being your champ, I think you got to get them over just because they got so much heel heat. But more than likely, they going with Rhea and Damian because they got jumped this past Monday. Well, yeah, last week they got jumped. When this comes out, it'll be the current Monday. They got jumped last week, so obviously somebody got to come and save them. So I think the babyface gets over Rhea and Damian Priest. Who helps them? God only knows. I mean, they got, you know what? This might be stupid, but I say a lot of stupid stuff. Hey, Pentagon been teasing something. Obviously, they signed to the E. They ain't say how they was gonna show up. They put the Latin workers. Do they not put the Latin workers? The LWO, El Fatat, they put all the Latin workers together. Damian Priest, Puerto Rican, Penta, Mexican. I'm just saying they willing to do that with Triple H booking.
Here's what I will say. I don't go with Rhea and Damian as well. However, another person to consider is someone that can help out more specifically Rhea than anybody else is Raquel. Haven't seen her on TV for a while. Haven't seen her in any really role for a while. We know that Raquel and Liv had issues at one point, I believe. And so I think for the sake of helping out Rhea and to kind of even the odds, I can see Raquel making a return. But as far as the match prediction is concerned, I'm going to go with Rhea and Damian. The next match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, we have Randy Orton versus Gunther. I already know who I have, but I want to know who you have.
Of course, it's going to be Gunther. I ask that this match be 30 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes. Can both of these guys do 30 to 40 minutes? Hell, they can do an hour just because Gunther shit by default because our tribal chief, is basically no disrespect to him. He's a part timer, but he deserved it and then some. I think Gunther might be the best pro wrestler out today. It's just not me saying that. Ask the old heads. Wow. The old heads revere his. Well, he works in this timeline. He works in the 90s, the 80s, especially the 70s and the 80s. Like him and Bruiser Brody would have had some great matches. Again, let me not scare the females and the kids and all that because I can get into my wrestling bag. But With
Right.
him, he's a homage to the old workers, but he works now because he's a heel that shit, you could boo him or you could cheer for him just because how he be talking that money talk. He looks like a champion. He works like a champion. This is your long term champ until he decides I want to do the job of somebody or they make him do the job of somebody. The only person he should
Mm.
do the job to, if it's cool with Cena, is Cena at WrestleMania. Otherwise, he should have this title for a long time because who gonna beat him? So it's Gunther, but I hope this match is at least 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes.
I think we are going to get a 45-minute banger out of this one. And I do believe that Gunter is going to win. And I agree with everything that you just said about him. I believe it was The Undertaker on his podcast, 6 Feet Under, that said that Gunter is special. He also said that Ludwig Kaiser is special and that he's someone to look out for as well. Um, he said that Gunter is a throwback heel. You can put him in any era, he'll thrive. So the old heads have spoken, as you said, and Gunter is that guy. I feel like this is probably going to be one of the most important matches of his reign, however long it is. It's his first defense. It's against the guy who, next to John Cena, has encapsulated the last 20 years of WWE. It's been Cena, it's been Orton, and then there's everybody else. I feel like him winning against Orton is going to set the tone. So I personally think that Gunter is going to win. And then, last but not least, Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens for the WWE Undisputed Championship. I'm going to go Cody. I'm going to go Cody, but I do believe that Kevin Owens is going to turn heel. And I believe that that is going to be the big story that comes out of this. But I do want to know how you feel about this.
Uh, Another two former ROH guys. So, you know, this is just a filler. It's a meantime between time. The
Mm,
bloodline, I don't expect them to be booked last minute to do anything unless it's a tag match with the Gorillas of Destiny going against whoever. It's not needed for this
mm,
type of pay per view. I think they're trying to hold off to bad blood to do anything with the bloodline. Also, because
yeah.
the Fox deal is about to end and they're going to USA in a couple of weeks. Originally, our tribal chief was
Mm,
supposed to show up, but then they canceled that appearance. And I understand as to why. It's probably like, let's just wait on it. We don't need it for the premiere. We already got paid.
yeah.
The ratings are good. And we have to keep, people have to be reminded. Dude
Yeah.
still has stuff going on with his body outside of pro wrestling. People got to remember that. So it's
Yeah.
like, let him take care of himself first all the time. So for right now, I guess this match is just a filler. I'll watch like everybody else, and I don't expect any story out of it. Like Jordan just said, I think this turns Kevin Owens heel, but it's just in the meantime between time. We got to get to October for Bad Blood.
Yeah. I agree. And I think that also but I think that the reason why the bloodline story is kind of the way that it is right now, and they're keeping them off of this show, is I think they wanted to sell the attack from Jacob to Roman. Like, we have to think about this man made his debut entrance in Madison Square Garden. 3 matches into his WWE tenure, he's a champion. He becomes tag team champion with Tama Tonga. And had it not been for Jacob, Roman would have walked out of SmackDown with that tribal chief title because of what he put around his neck. I can't pronounce it, so I'm not even gonna try. But the fact that he was able to be the difference maker in all of that, I think elevates his value. And I think that keeping Roman off of screen after that attack only solidifies Jacob as the monster heel that SmackDown has been uh, building him up to be. So I think that that's more so the reason why they're kind of keeping the bloodline pace as it is right now. And they've also been sowing some little seeds for dissension. Solo asks for Jacob to relinquish his tag team title, give it to Tongaloa, uh, in order to be Solo's enforcer. So I think that that's something that we should keep an eye out for. But yes to everything that you said. But I think that concludes all of our predictions for Bash in Berlin. So if y'all think that we have some good predictions, be sure to comment below, let us know. But thank you guys so much for tuning into another show of Culture 316. Once again, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, all the good things. And we'll see you guys next week.